Coaches, executives, and scouts weigh in on what they expect to happen on the quickly approaching NBA season. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. We're going to take a look at who's going to win it all, who's going to win MVP, and a bunch of other really interesting things, including who had the worst summer of any NBA team. Maybe some surprising answers in that one. Donnie, I'm fired up for the NBA season. I'm so glad it's here. We should note, I think, a quick qualifier, quick disclaimer before we get into this. This is a survey of 20 scouts, executives, and coaches coming in from ESPN. So this is not 100, this is not 200, this is 20 people, but people with connections in the NBA and their opinions on how things are going to look moving forward here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also really excited and ready for the season to go. Feels like this has been a very long offseason. We've had some interesting talking points throughout it, and we're still kind of in the middle of one. But feels like it's been a long offseason, and we're in the home stretch now.
Is there anyone who wants the season to start more than the Clippers?
just get in and just stop talking about it.
Give us something on the floor to talk about. That's not what's going on with Kawhi and Ballmer and
Well, and also, like, people's initial response to that is that they're just going to get asked every day about it. I think they're not going to get asked at all.
Can you know? Like, they'll ask Kawhi about it on media day, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
I don't think.
What else can you do?
Like, I'm sure that they'll tell the media people, hey, you can't ask about this.
Yeah, and I'm sure Kawhi will just say, I'm not going to answer questions on that.
Exactly. Like, they're just not going to talk about it. That's a pretty common tactic teams do. So it would still be a distraction, but they, I'm sure, are just hoping to get into the season. And if you're a vet that just signed there this offseason, like they signed 10 vets or whatever, you've got to be wondering how this is going to affect the season as well.
Absolutely. If there's one thing that Kawhi Leonard does well, though, it's not talk. So I do think that that they'll probably be okay there. All right. So
maybe if he talked more, he wouldn't get so much trouble. How about that?
if he just talked about planting some trees, would that check the box?
Allegedly in trouble.
Allegedly, of course. So according to these scouts, executives, and coaches that were wrangled by Tim Bontemps, who will be the MVP? Nikola Jokic got 7 of the 20 votes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got 5. Luka 4. Wemby coming in with 2. Giannis 1. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Giannis only got 1 in terms of just dominant seasons. I think Giannis is one of those guys that could turn in just an insane, otherworldly domination type year. And I think that as the reigning MVP, I think voter fatigue may kick in with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, especially when we saw some of the negative backlash last year towards the, let's call it foul grifting, I suppose, that he was doing. I would be surprised, actually. He's a great player, no question, but I would be surprised if SGA won it back-to-back.
I mean, he was, second the year prior?
Yeah.
When you speak about fatigue, the one name that kind of stands out here like a sore thumb is Jokic, who's got 3 already. He won 3 and 4
seasons. Did that get reset by him not winning it last year?
But 3 and 5 seasons, whatever it is. So maybe that's the case. And one thing that stands out to me here is that you talked about Giannis. He's the only guy from the Eastern Conference here. So clearly, maybe that's just because a lot of the top guys are in the West, but they clearly value the Western Conference and coming out of the West probably a little bit more. I think I agree with the top 3 here. Shai obviously should be in the mix, being a top 2 finisher and winning it this past season, the last couple seasons. And then the other 2 are just such stat monsters. Like, they're going to put up such good numbers. If I had to pick a safer bet in terms of number wise, it would probably be Jokic, because I think Luka, he'll have a great season, but there's a possibility that his numbers don't look like Jokic's do, where he's averaging a triple-double or something like that, because maybe there's a little bit less of a burden on Luka, but due to the way that they've got Austin, LeBron, and stuff like that. But Jokic is interesting, man. I think he is probably the safest bet to walk away with it if they end as a top 3 seed. And Wemby,
which is harder to do in the West than it is.
That's why I was saying that, though. I can say the same thing about Luka. I think if they're a top 3 seed, I think there's a real good chance Luka wins it. But Wemby kind of gets thrown into these. I know Wemby is great. I just, for one, need to see him be out there, be healthy, and I need to see him also take a little bit of a step forward too.
We're preemptively
it's a little
Wemby.
Early, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go here. Who's the best player right now? Look at that, 19 to. Hey, Luka got a vote. 19. And you know what, though? I wouldn't argue with. If you ask me who's the best player in the NBA right now, I would say Nikola Jokic. Let's go a step further. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. That's, I think, just plain and simple. I think he is.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I just think it's crazy that Shea didn't get a single vote.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code Bulletin. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Like
rating
even,
MVP,
yeah, that's the
MVP
thing, right?
Vote.
A lot of times, a lot of people will say, they'll have like that recency bias where it's like, oh, well, the best player on the best team just won it MVP, and then he also had a historical season. You know, led the league in scoring, won all these other accolades. He should be in this mix somewhere. I don't deny Jokic and Luka being in there, but it's just surprising Shea didn't get a single vote, or maybe even potentially Giannis as well.
Well,
but
if you asked GMs, hey, start a team today and you could have any player, how many picks would you go through before you got to SGA?
Not many, because I think the thing about it is that Jokic is already like what, 30?
Yeah, but I'm saying SGA wouldn't be number 1 though.
Okay,
that's in the top 5.
That's fine. Certainly, he would be in the top 5.
Okay.
That's not. But that's where like it's just Jokic has 19. I think he'd be in the top 5.
Okay, Jokic. Would you start a team with Luka or SGA?
I'd go Luka personally.
I would too. What about Giannis?
I would strongly consider Shea at this spot.
Okay, I would go Giannis.
Okay, that's fair. You can go either way.
I think Wemby, you would start a team with Wemby, but it's the MVP award is a different conversation, obviously. But still, starting a team, Wemby's probably number 1.
Yeah, I guess Wemby has to probably be at the top of the list because we were just talking about the preemptive stuff, but like there's a very long runway for Wemby.
Exactly.
Okay, well, Shea is somewhere in the mix, I think, for best player for sure.
He's somewhere in the mix. I just don't. I understand him not getting the vote for being the best right now. So much of that Thunder thing was team success. But who will be the best player in 2030? Hey, there's SGA. He got 1 vote there.
Look
at Wemby. 80% of the vote. Everybody's like, Wemby's just going to run this league. Luka got 2 votes.
Yeah, I don't even doubt it. I just want to see him go out there and earn it. That's all. That's my only thing, is I don't want to hand him stuff yet. I know he's great. I know he will be great. I know he's got a world of potential. Could be the face of the league. I just want to go out there and see him do it, though. Like, I don't want to give him stuff. So, but I wouldn't doubt this. He's going to be like right entering his prime, 2030. I don't doubt it.
All right, who's the best American player right now? This. Steph Curry gets 11 votes, Anthony Edwards 8, Donovan Mitchell 1. Is Steph the best American? Is this? I mean, Tatum is out of the mix because of the injury for this coming season, but Steph Curry at 37 years old is the best American player right now. And then if we're giving Steph this vote, and we're not discounting the fact that he's 37, how does LeBron not appear on this list? Like, how does LeBron not get on this list and Donovan Mitchell does?
I agree with that. I just don't want to take anything away from Don. I think he's
no,
great.
But it's LeBron. I don't think comparing him to LeBron is taking anything away from Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, for sure. But this is another situation where I think there should be more names in the mix, because I would consider somebody like AD to be in this mix. KD could be in there. Brunson, like, I don't know how Brunson isn't listed at all. Like, I would consider more names.
This is where if there was 100 votes instead of 20.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And I assume this is just purely healthy going into the season, because you're not going to have Tatum or Hallie in there too. Like, I would consider more players.
This vote had to have taken place like hours after the Steph shredded gym workout picture went around.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, he's got 11 votes.
He's great, though.
I think LeBron should be in there somewhere, but I think there's a handful of guys that should be mixed in.
Sure.
So, but I mean, they clearly are also very high on Ant, and I would be too. You know, he's taken leaps each time around.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the thing with Steph is that he is just such a offensive system in and of himself. He just draws so much attention. That says nothing about his own ability to score it and all that stuff. He just creates such easy looks for his teammates by way of the way that he draws so much attention. So I think that that's probably part of it too. Mm-hmm. And he's also still unguardable at 37 or whatever he is now. So
is this a concern for Team USA? That this vote is the way it is?
Absolutely. The problem is that a lot of our main guys are kind of old now. I just listed a handful of them, and several of them are already over 30. We got LeBron, we got KD. These guys are elder statesmen. AD, already like 30, 31. Cat's going to be in that range soon, if not already. Like there's not a lot left. Embiid is in that mix. Like all these guys are right there.
This is where the Zion, Ben Simmons, Ja Morant generation having so many misses really hurts.
There's some other young guys in there that are really good, though. Like you got Paolo, you've got Cade. Jaylen Brown is in there. I mean, he's a little bit older, but you got Jalen Williams. You've got JJJ, Mobley. There's some guys, Holmgren. There's some guys in there.
Oh, absolutely.
But I just think that the international crop is just better.
It is.
But the international crop's also got some guys that are in the 30s now, too. So,
best American player in 5 years. Anthony Edwards gets the nod there with Cooper Flagg right there behind him.
Another young guy.
With 5. Yeah, Cooper Flagg. That's an interesting one. And then you've got Tatum, Paolo Banchero, Jalen Williams. It's kind of the conversation we just had there. Rookie of the year, Cooper Flagg, as dominant as Jokic in terms of being the best player. Cooper Flagg, 19-1. Not a surprise. I'd pick Cooper Flagg to win Rookie of the Year as well. Best player from the class in 5 years, Cooper Flagg, then Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey.
Okay.
Here's the thing, right? Where will LeBron James be at the start of the 2026-2027 season? I talked about this on Lakers Nation. 20 votes. Only 7 votes. Less than half the votes said LeBron will be a Laker next season.
Yeah. He's going to be in LA or he's going to be retired. I don't see him going anywhere else. So the problem with the Lakers is that he may have to take a far lower deal to stay. That's the problem. There's
more coaches, scouts, and execs that voted that if he's playing in the NBA, the way we break this down, he will not be a Laker, then he will be. It's 8-7. And then there's 5 votes saying he retired.
Yeah, but it's
7 in favor of him being on another team.
It's technically 12. Because what are those retired guys saying? If he's not retired, then what? Like, is he going to be on the Lakers still, or is he going elsewhere? I would bunch those two together because that's basically the same thing. He's going to be on the Lakers, or he's going to retire a Laker.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately where we're going to go. All right, which team had the best offseason? Look at the love for the Hawks, Donnie. 7 votes for the Atlanta Hawks, 4 for the Denver Nuggets, 3 for the Houston Rockets. Yeah, I had those. I think those top 3 make a lot of sense. They all had great summers. But are you surprised that Atlanta separated from Denver and Houston the way they did?
No, they had a really good offseason. I mean, if we go back, they got the most coveted guy in the market, pulled off good trades. They were really good this offseason. So I really like what they got brewing in Atlanta.
I do too.
Especially off the heels of the season where we were questioning a lot of what they were doing there. But I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, Denver's, I think, in a situation where they're in a little bit of an unknown. There's no question they've got like the deepest team they've had in the last number of years. But they're also going to be relying on these guys in a way that they haven't before. Like, for example, Bruce, we know what he was a few years ago. Is he still that? Well, it remains to be seen. Tim, he's somebody that can come in and fill it up for you. We know that. But how much are you going to rely on that guy in the playoffs? It's nice to get another shooter because they didn't really have many shooters in the first place. They only really had a couple, right? And that's why Jokic's shooting was so integral to that team.
Yeah.
And then other than that, they did bring in a center, so that's where it's also pretty good. And they're going to get Day'Ron Holmes back, and that should be counted as an addition for them too this offseason.
Yeah, he was great in Summer League.
So like they I think should be up here. I just have some questions about how it's all going to mesh. Like how much are they going to rely on these guys, and will they still hit a point where they rely a lot on like Pickett, Strother, and all these other guys that weren't able to get it done for them in the past?
Now, the one thing that stands out here, Donnie, is who, and maybe they're just completely ignoring off-court stuff. Who voted for the Clippers to have the best offseason? They're having the summer from hell right now, and they got to vote for having the best. Was it summer or best offseason with the first thing they used?
you know what? I bet they got dinged for that from some of these guys. I bet they probably were higher on this list if that doesn't happen.
So how did they get a vote then?
Because these guys did it individually.
Somebody just completely dismissed.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened. Because they had a good offseason. I mean, aside from the fact that they're all like, old and all that stuff, they had a really good offseason. I mean, look at what they did. They brought in some really good quality players and Bradley Beal and all that stuff.
As long as you're willing to bring in those older, you're not going to worry too much about the age. And I think the Clippers did just fine with that because the window they have. Yeah, you can't complain about the talent that they brought in for sure. Brad Beal, Chris Paul, you bring in John Collins, Brooke Lopez. They've got some real pieces there. I don't know if I can, plant my flag or I suppose more appropriately would be tree.
Don't. I heard that one coming a mile away. Don't do it.
And say they're going to be like the top of the conference or anything like that. But they had a strong summer roster wise.
Yeah.
I'm just interested that they, dismissed all the other craziness that's going on with them.
I think that they probably are above OKC on this list. If you ignore that, then probably around the Nuggets Houston range because they had a really good offseason. The only problem again is the age of it all.
Yeah.
And that again is another question mark, something that remains to be seen. But I think that they probably got dinged by some of the guys. But somebody said, you know what? I've got to give it to them because I still really like what they did. I wonder if the guys that dinged them had the Hawks like second on their list and were like, okay, so the Clippers are removed. So it's got to go to Atlanta.
I wonder if the guy, whoever it is that voted for the Clippers is going to pop up on Aspirations Owed Money.
Stop. he's another entity that they owe money to.
$35 million for that vote. Hey, if he $35 million for that vote, and here's the crazy thing, Donnie, he would have done more than Kawhi Leonard did.
Oh my God. You just can't help yourself.
I cannot. All right, which team had the worst offseason? The Pelicans. It's all because of that trade.
Yeah.
Giving up their first next year in exchange for moving up 10 spots to get Derek Queen. Boy, Derek Queen had better work out. But they also didn't like getting Jordan Poole in exchange for an expiring. I was kind of the same way. I think Jordan Poole is a better player right now than CJ McCollum. Maybe. But Ty goes to the expiring contract if it's kind of iffy on which one you'd rather have. So, yeah, I don't like a lot of what the Pelicans did. So apparently the voters didn't either. Almost 50% of the vote for who had the worst offseason landing squarely on New Orleans.
I like the Poole edition because I do like the 3-point shooting accuracy and volume. I mean, he took 9 threes per game. And that's going to be so huge for a guy like Zion to have the floor spaced out for him with a Poole and Murphy around, just taking all those threes and just generating that spacing for him to really go in there and operate. And CJ really upticked his threes as well. I'm pulling up the numbers, but he really also liked to occupy like the mid-range area too and take a lot of shots from there. CJ actually shooting 8 per game. So it's only one per game difference.
But look at the percentage for Jordan Poole, 38% from three. You have to buy that, hey, from age 24 going into the age 25 season last year, the 3-point percentage he got better. Basically, you have to buy that's real. If not, and you're talking about 9 attempts per game from a 34.5% 3-point shooter, that's not quite good enough. Volume-wise, you'll still have gravity and everything. But I'll tell you that probably the best development for the Pels came out earlier today. Joe Dumars mentioning that Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, they're working hard right now, like they're a full go. Yeah. So that's a good sign, coming back from injury, they'll be ready for the start of the season. But
I wonder about like their grouping too. Like, how are they going to pair these guys? Because they got those two, they got Zion. They're gonna probably want to start Missy. Like, they've still got Murray, Poole. Like, how is this going to break down?
Queen's got to play.
Queen also is going to probably be like their 6th man or something, or 7th man, but they've got all these guys. I don't know how they all line up properly, but I understand this. I would just not be so harsh on this until I see like a year out how they look. Because I think it's more so also that they're in the West. But I do like the addition of Poole for the reason I laid out, but also because he's younger. He's more on the timeline of what they're trying to do since they're not trying to rebuild.
What are they trying to do?
Well, they're just trying to accumulate young talent and put that around Zion as well. He's a 24, 25-year-old guy, like 26 maybe. These guys are all about that same range. So that works, I think.
I mean, Jordan Poole, 26, Zion Williamson, 25. I mean, that's a decent amount of money.
25.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray. So what's the eventual everybody's healthy it's DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Zion Williamson, and then Yves Missi sometimes working in, and Derek Queen. That's kind of your 7-man rotation. Maybe Jeremiah Fears becomes something at the 1. Maybe Jordan Hawk. There's a lot of question marks there, and a lot of guys where I don't know what they're ultimately going to be. And do you have enough two-way players in that mix as well?
They may have to trade probably Murray. I'm looking at Murray like, I know he's a great player. He is a great player.
He doesn't have an Achilles right now. How are you going to trade him?
Yeah, that's I hate when you say that. The dude's not Achilles. Knock it off. The dude, he has an Achilles. It's just not working right now. But yeah, it's taking time off. No, but they may need to try to find a way at some point to move on from him, because he's going to age out in a couple years too.
It's a relatively expensive team as well for the next couple of seasons.
Well, it's because they've gone in with this core.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you're taking bets here that Zion will be healthy and be able to be that guy. Because if he is healthy, and he's 25 now, we've been saying this for years.
Dangerous bet.
I think he could be a guy to lead your team into the playoffs. I'm not sure you're going to get a top 3 seed, but I think he could be a guy that can get you there. So that's kind of the bet that they're taking. And otherwise, do they have the playmaking, the offense around him? Herb is on a great value deal that I'm holding on to for dear life. I like this team with some of that stuff, but I mean, if I had to bet, I would say that they're probably a play-in team at this point. So with that being the case, I can understand it. Now, I want to say really quick, if you go back to the list, I don't know why Phoenix got dinged so much. They accomplished their goals this offseason.
Yeah, but they look at the dead money they took on their books for Brad Beal. That's
but Milwaukee's not on this list. They did the same thing.
Yeah, but they did the same thing in order to sign Miles Turner and potentially keep Giannis happy. The Suns did this just because they couldn't wait to get Bradley Beal off their roster. $19.3 million.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. I forgot they took on that much money.
That's a lot. That's a lot of that. But did you hear Matt Ishbia's argument for why they're actually going to have a good season? The experts, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, the experts got it wrong when they said we were going to be good for the last couple of years. So now the experts are saying we're going to be bad. That means we're going to be really good. That's the rationalization.
That's great logic. Hey, that's great logic.
Devin Booker and Jalen Green is the backcourt. That's the starting backcourt.
That's true. I looked at it more from the perspective of their primary objectives this offseason. One main thing we talked about was how are they going to separate these 3 guys? Yeah. And what are they going to do? And they got rid of 2 of these guys, for better or worse, as the number one thing.
Durant and Beal, yeah.
So, I mean, you could maybe argue whether you should have probably tried to get rid of Booker too, but they got rid of a couple of those guys, for better or worse.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be bad, but
I think they're going to be worse than the Pelicans, for the record.
The Suns will be worse than the Pels.
I think that personally. I think their roster is really clunky.
Oh, I do too.
Well, unless again the Zion piece. Like if Zion is not able to play, then that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Injuries. Like last season, the Pels had their whole season just obliterated by injuries. So if that happens again, then of course, and that's true for any team that gets injured the way the Pelicans did, they're done. That's it. I'm just looking right now. 2026 first round pick goes to Washington, Memphis, or Charlotte. The Suns pick. So those teams will be hoping, particularly. It's protected 9 through 30. Washington gets. It's all very convoluted. Phoenix's 20 pick, first round pick.
Don't you just love those ones where it's
oh my god, place? It's like been traded to like 3 different teams with different protections. The bottom line is they're not going to get their pick, so we'll see what happens there. All right. Last thing, how did the Lakers get a vote for best and worst?
Somebody's a hater there.
It's like their number one goal was to re-sign Luka to an extension, and they did that. And then they added pieces, but they had the worst stuff. That was interesting.
And they also patched their biggest weakness, right? Needing another center. You could argue they maybe could use another one.
Sure.
Certainly their roster isn't perfect. There's still things they need to sort out, but I mean they fixed their biggest weakness. And they also re-signed their superstar player who would have been catastrophic if he doesn't.
yeah.
And then another thing is he didn't have to re-sign when he did. He re-signed at the very first
Immediately,
availability.
yeah.
Like I can't see any other way to spin that other than positive. So
for sure.
Somebody there is a hater, I think.
All right, let's go here. It's you know what it is? It's whoever voted for the Clippers on the previous one. Whoever's on that aspiration payroll.
He just keeps on striking. I bet if we go back to the start of this, in hindsight, we're gonna see, man, what was that one pick?
There's one rogue voter with a little bit of extra spending.
No, actually, was he the one that gave Luka the one vote for the best player?
No, he would have tried to take votes away from him, I think. It was the best move of the offseason. The Rockets trading for Durant got number 1, 11 out of the 20 votes. Des Bane, I thought it was a bit of a risky trade for the Magic, just the amount of money they're committed to long term for this group, but he's the exact kind of player they need. They paid up. They paid a lot to get him. The Hawks trading for the Pelicans draft pick. The Hawks capitalizing on the Pels being dumb, basically. It's got them 2 votes for best move of the offseason. The Nuggets trading for Cam Johnson. That is an underrated trade. I love that trade for the Nuggets. And then the Lakers re-signing Luka Doncic. But I do think the Rockets, their roster was screaming for a Kevin Durant type player, somebody who can just put the ball in the basket in the half court. He's maybe the greatest we've ever seen do it. Certainly one of the greatest we've ever seen do it. So I'm not going to argue with this in terms of the Rockets getting Durant as being the best move of the offseason.
Yeah, for sure. Bane is also a sneaky good one. Like Bane is actually one of the best players in the league at doing what he does in terms of the way he takes his shots and gets to his shots. And that's going to fit perfectly onto that team. They needed a player like him. And he's also been thrust into more ball handling duties as they've dealt with injuries, and he's really rounded out his playmaking pick and roll game. So he's going to be really good on that team, being able to be a guy that they can put into actions as the handler, as a roll man, also able to dribble pull up off those threes. He's going to be great. They needed a player like Bane, so I can't sleep on that one. I was listening to Locked On Denver, and they made an interesting point. They said you could run.
Why are you doing that?
Hey man, I try to expand my horizon. Okay? No. It actually just came on its own. I just happened to listen to it. They were talking about their offseason, and anyway, they made an interesting point. Like one thing, it's very obvious, like at surface level, like Cam and MPJ, you could run the exact same stuff. You're not missing very much there. But one thing I thought was pretty interesting was that actually they would not do things and run sets where MPJ was the screener because he has a bad back and all this stuff. And like, you'll actually be able to do stuff like that with Cam. I thought that was really funny, firstly, but those are the little nuances that like you don't think about or any of that stuff. Like I was like, man, I didn't even consider that. Like, so like their playbook is actually expanded because they can do more things out there optionally with Cam as opposed to him just on that one simple thing, because MPJ, we know that he's had back issues and all that stuff. So
that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
They are one of the reasons why I think the West is going to be tougher than ever this coming season. The worst move, the Pelicans. Their unprotected pick swap got over 50% of the vote, 11 out of 20. The Blazers trading for Drew Holiday. I was not a fan of the Blazers trade for Drew Holiday either. That was a surprise. I get it that they feel like they can go win right now, but like, man, that's a 35-year-old Drew Holiday. That's like a win right now. Young guys, you'd better figure it out. And hopefully Drew is still okay when Dame comes back in a year.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully Drew hasn't fallen off a cliff by then.
Yeah.
His primary skill being defense, I do worry about that. He's already in his mid-30s now. You could really see like the Venn diagram for who chose what things, because throughout this list, it's Pelicans, worst off season, worst trades, all this stuff, and then the Hawks were at the top of the last one for best. Like you could really see the Venn diagram with this stuff.
Suns.
The Suns in here too. We talked about the waiving and stretching for Beal. Like I said, I frankly forgot it was $20 million per year. That's
a lot.
But another thing is Mark Williams. Remember how all that shook down? They didn't think they were going to get Malawach, and they all of a sudden have an extra center on their roster, and it's like, oh well, what are they doing here? So I think that,
and then they're gonna have to pay Mark Williams too to keep him.
They do have to pay him.
Yeah.
And
if it works, that's going to be a good center, Tana. But now you've got a superfluous Nick Richards or maybe Oso Ighodaro. Like, what do you do
there's
there?
kind of a lot there. They went from not having any of that to having a lot of that. And so they've got some stuff to figure out. Dennis catching a stray here. Put some respect on the Euro
man.
MVP, man.
I don't get that. Like, I am all on let's shame the Kangs, for what they've been up to. But Dennis Schroeder was just the Eurobasket MVP. He, at the very least, is just a steady veteran guard. And at the NBA level, he's great internationally, obviously. But in the NBA, he's a very steady, productive guard, has been year in, year out. I
wouldn't say steady. You called him optimistic, Dennis.
I called him an optimistic passer. That doesn't mean his game isn't steady. He's consistently optimistic with his passes. He throws passes that aren't there sometimes, but that doesn't mean there aren't also other things that he can do very
Dennis
well.
Is great. Dennis is great.
And so I don't think it's the word. Like, if you wanted to just put the Kings there, okay. Like, as in terms of what their concept is as a team, their plan, but the value of Dennis Schroeder is fine. They just have other guys they've got to get off this roster in order to try to make heads or tails of it.
Man, you know what? I wish that Russ had signed, because Russ's name would have been all throughout this. They would have been all over this.
If the Kings signed Russell Westbrook, how many more votes do they get for worst move of the offseason?
I'm sure they would have got way more. It would have shot way up. It sounds like I'm hating on Russ. It's not really that. It's just more so just the fit. Like, there's no reason for them to have been so interested in him while having the roster that they have this offseason. And that would have just made everything Kings related, because we're hating on the Kings apparently. More interesting for sure.
All right, let's go. Let's go here. The most surprising move. Oh, the Miles Turner thing with the Lillard wave and stretch.
That came out
80% of the vote. That was insane.
Came out of nowhere. Nobody expected that.
I mean, waving and stretching Damian Lillard by itself was bonkers, but then to wind up with Turner leaving the Pacers to sign with the rival Bucks. I mean, that's one of those, like, if you were in the Big Brother house all summer or something like that, and you had no contact to the outside world, and you pop back out and you're like, what? Miles Turner, like, that is one of the most shocking things I think that we've seen in a while. Obviously, in a post-Luka world, nothing is on that level, but that was pretty nuts that the Miles Turner is now a Milwaukee Buck.
Yeah, that one just absolutely came out of nowhere, and it was for sure the shock. I think it's funny Kuminga is still with the Warriors. It's on here. It's just out of nowhere.
Poor Jonathan Kuminga.
Kuminga catching a stray here, still with the Warriors. But yeah, that one for sure.
Who do you blame more, Jonathan Kuminga or the Warriors, for their situation?
I mean, you could look at it from either side and say, well, if they would just, play ball, this could be done. This could have been done forever ago. So I'm going to blame the Warriors personally, because I'm more pro team or player, in these types of situations than the team.
Yeah.
So.
I would agree. The biggest trend of the offseason, teams trying to avoid the aprons and financial flexibility. Yep. We are in the new, more responsible world of NBA spending now. And so teams are trying to avoid aprons. They're trying to make sure they drop below the second apron or the first apron. They're being much more careful with the contracts they're giving out. Some of that, I think, is the dynamic of the market this summer, where there were very few free agents. And so teams used that to their advantage. And there was not a lot of money out there either. So teams used that to their advantage by offering non-guaranteed years, things like that, like we saw in the Duncan Robinson contract with the Detroit Pistons. But yeah, I mean, teams are being much more careful with their spending, their future money. Donnie, I even think when you look at these wave and stretches, it's become more painful for teams to have money tied up on their books that's not being productive, that's not producing for them. We can even talk about, the Kobe Buffkin trade for the Hawks, them sending him out on essentially a salary dump. Like, teams don't have time, roster spots, or money to allocate towards players that aren't giving them anything anymore. You just can't do it. And so teams are trying to maintain as much flexibility as they possibly can. That is the new trend in the NBA in terms of their spending and the way rosters are constructed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that some of that is just, obviously a lot of that is the CBA, but some of that's also just these guys trying to have flexibility for the next couple of seasons to keep themselves open to trades or acquiring certain players on the market potentially. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of different through lines here that are always in play, but I think the new CBA is the real culprit of that. I do like number 2 though, teams prioritizing size more. That's actually pretty cool, shifting back to size.
Yeah, we're going away from small ball and back towards teams having size. You look at what the Clippers did, getting Brook Lopez to back up the already massive Ivica Zubats. They had a John Collins.
The Rockets. For no reason.
Rockets, they already have Alperen Sengun. They already have Steven Adams.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we can use one more. Let's go get another center. And they go and they get Clint Capella. Like we said, the Suns probably have too many because they've got 4 centers now that they've got to play. Teams are loading up on size at this point. I think it's a shift where now we're starting to see bigs who are adjusting and are getting, not all of the guys we just named can do this certainly, but we're starting to see bigs get a little bit better in terms of their overall versatility as a player, both on both sides of the ball. And, basketball is a game where height is an advantage. It is not a game where there's an advantage from being small. So what we're really trying to do is get as much skill on the floor as you can. And that's why teams are going smaller, just to get more skill out there. But if the bigger guys are getting more skilled, well, then you're going to lean into that advantage of size. And I think we are slowly turning back into that. So good to see teams are prioritizing size, and people that are 7 feet tall are getting much wealthier once again in the NBA.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's go. Who will win each conference? Look at the East. The Cavs, the Knicks, they got the majority of the votes, no question. But the Hawks, the Bucks, the Magic getting votes there as well. I've got the Cavs as the definite favorites, no question. The Knicks right there as well. But look at the West. 90% of the vote went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Donnie, we've seen a new champion for 7 straight NBA seasons, and 90% of the voters said, no, Thunder are just going to do it again.
Best team in the NBA last year. Superstar player on their roster, one of the best players in the NBA. They're still very young. I think they're the safest bet you can make, aside from just the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had to pick the Thunder or the field, what would you pick?
Probably the field.
I think I would too. Now,
but I mean, if you got to pick a team, then
if you have to pick a team,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I get why you
think they're the safest bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is there's not a lot of belief that if the Thunder are standing there, whoever comes out of the East can beat them.
No, that's what it is. Like, they're not going to win. The Eastern Conference team probably isn't going to win that match.
You never know for sure, and that's part of what we love about this sport. But yeah, agreed. All right, everybody, give us your thoughts in the comments down below about these predictions. Some of them got a little crazy. Some of them may have been on the aspiration payroll. We don't know about that. Some of them with some surprising selections, but that is the way a assortment of coaches, scouts, and executives around the NBA see the upcoming season playing out. Give us your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen? And make sure you do subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.